Let's get straight into how I make this loaded baked potato soup. I know that the name says baked potato, but it's still hot where I am, and I really didn't want to turn my oven on. So I wanted to try making this without having to bake the potatoes first. I'm not claiming to be the first person to ever do this. I didn't see anybody doing it, so I thought I would just give it a shot to see if I can make it work. I'm going to sit the potatoes in an ice bath until I'm ready to deal with them. To get started, I'm going to melt some butter in a pan and put a little splash of olive oil with that. That's just so it won't burn. And I am always going to be anti-chopping things, so whenever I can, I'm going to get my veggies pre-chopped. Typically, you probably really wouldn't use the carrots, but since they were already in there, I'm going to use them. But I just want to cook the onions first, so I'm going to try to get as many as I can out of these 2 containers. You'll see I kind of left some behind, but it's just because I want them to sweat and cook a little bit harder, and then I'll cook the rest of the veggies. After a few minutes, I'm going to go ahead and add in the rest of my vegetables here and allow those to continue to cook down. Again, you don't have to add in carrots if you're chopping your vegetables yourself. That was just what I chose to do because they were already in here. They didn't really alter the taste, and I'm kind of just doing what I do when I'm making a chicken stock. Well, not a stock, I mean a soup, chicken soup. While those were cooking, I went ahead and grated a couple cloves of garlic. I think I did like 3. And once I get those veggies nice and warm, I'm going to go ahead and add in the grated garlic. You want to add that in last because you really don't want that to burn. I do actually like to grate my own garlic because you can really smell when it's cooking more than if I was using the pre-chopped kind. I know that's totally the opposite of what I was just saying in the beginning, but garlic is different. So now let's get those potatoes in. I cut them in smaller pieces so that they would cook even and fast. Then on top of that, we're going to put some chicken broth. Only use 1 container because it pretty much covered up all of the potatoes that I had going here. Just going to give it a quick mix to make sure everything is covered and nothing sticking to the bottom. And after I let that cook for a while, I'll go in and I'll mash the potatoes up. Here, you do it to your liking. So if you want super fine, you'll probably go in and blend them. I don't. I like big chunks. I don't like feeling like I'm eating baby food. So cover that other pot. Just let it stay warm. And then we're going to get a separate pot, melt some butter, and add a little flour. We're going to make a roux. So unfortunately, I only had one hand while I was doing this. So we're just going to stir the butter and flour together a little at a time, and this is going to be what thickens up our soup. I won't lie, I thought it was going to be a fail because it sounded really good in my head, but when I actually started doing it, I was like, oh, there's no way that this is going to work. So after I added my milk in, that's when I started getting nervous. So here you'll see me trying to stir with one hand, trying to get that milk in, and I'm not the best with roux. I really feel like I've never made a successful one. This one ended up being okay though. I got a little too adventurous because at random I'm like, well, why not add some cream cheese to this? So I went and I got some cream cheese, and it was still cold at this time. And that's when I started stirring, and it got so thick. I was like, oh my God, what did I just do? I messed this up. So I got nervous, but halfway through stirring this big lump here, trying to get these clumps out, I remembered that I haven't added all the milk that I intended on adding yet. So once I try to mash some of these clumps out, then I'll go in with the rest of my milk, and that'll help thin it out so it's a better consistency for my soup. I probably could have darkened the roux a little bit more, but I'm always so scared that I'm gonna burn them. So this ended up being fun, of course, but if that's something you're able to do, go for it. I stirred pretty vigorously until I could get some of the clumps out. But the cream cheese was so cold, it just did not want to disappear. So I just went ahead and start pouring it in just to see about how much I thought I was going to use. So I did about 2 cups first. And once I started, I was like, nah, I'm going to end up using all of this. So then I just picked up the whole pot and I just dumped it in there because I knew I needed it. You could see those cream cheese chunks floating in there. It actually ended up melting by the time I ate it, so that was good. I let it cook for a few more minutes and made some bacon to crumble on top, and that's the finished product.